Chapter 1. The Fall. The night was heavy, the sky black, the wind wild. The plane shook, lightning cracked, engines roared, metal groaned, and then came the screams. Masks dropped, hands clutched. Prayers filled the cabin as the aircraft tilted and fell. A crash tore the world apart. Fire burst, steel screamed, and then there was silence. I opened my eyes, smoke choking, blood dripping down. My face, heat burning close. Around me, wreckage twisted, bodies still, flames climbing high. I crawled, glass cutting my hands, clothes torn, lungs full of fuel and ash. I stumbled out, fell hard, rolled in mud, coughing, gasping alive. But not alone. Shadows moved, voices cried, survivors few, faces pale, eyes wide. We gathered broken bodies, torn souls, trembling hands. Behind us, the wreck burned, lighting the jungle like a beacon, crackling, exploding, drawing eyes we could not see. Ahead of us, darkness waited, endless trees, silent, hungry. We had no choice. We left the wreck, step by step, stumbling into shadows. The ground sucked at our feet, mud deep, roots twisted, branches tore our skin. The night sang around us. Owls cried, insects hissed, and something else moved, something wrong, not animal, not human. We froze, hearts pounding, eyes searching. Nothing seen, but something felt. We pushed forward. One carried another, one bled, one whispered prayers. And all of us feared. The forest swallowed us whole. No stars above, no moonlight, only blackness pressing close. Minutes dragged into hours, each step heavier, each breath harder, until at last we heard it. Water. A stream, faint and distant. Hope flickered and we followed. Branches whipped our faces, mud clung to our legs, but we moved faster, chasing the sound. And then we found it, clear, cold, alive. Salvation rushing past our hands. We fell to our knees, drank greedy, desperate, laughing through coughs, hope filling us again. But then whispers from the trees. Low, wrong, not. Water, not wind, not human. We froze, backs pressed tight together, listening. The dark thickened, shadows shifted. The whisper came closer, closer still. No words, only fear. The night stretched. Long, cold bit skin, hunger gnawed, sleep refused to come. We huddled, trembling, waiting for dawn, but I knew. Deep inside, I knew. The fall had spared us for now, but not for long. Something was waiting. Chapter 2. The Forest Hunger. Dawn crept slow, pale light slipping through tangled branches, the forest breathing alive around us. We rose weak, bodies aching, throats raw, eyes hollow from night. Without sleep, hunger gnawed sharp, emptiness twisting in our stomachs, hope draining as fast as strength. The stream still sang, its cold water enough to keep us moving, but not enough to keep us strong. We needed food. We needed fire. We needed something more than fear. We followed the water deeper into the jungle, searching, scanning, stumbling with each step. The trees loomed high, their roots like walls, their shadows like cages. Every sound was too loud, every silence worse. Birds screamed and then stopped. Monkeys howled far away, but closer came rustles, cracks, movements we could not name. We stopped, listened, felt it again. Something near, watching, waiting. One of us picked fruit from a low branch, teeth sinking in before I could warn him. His lips blistered, his tongue swelled. He gagged, spit, coughed, and the rest of us pulled him back, panicking. Poison. This forest hid no kindness. Every step, every choice was a test. We left the fruit behind, but hunger stayed. We tried fishing with sticks, stones, hands clawing at the water, but the stream was fast and slick, laughing at our efforts. The sun burned high, heat heavy, sweat pouring, clothes soaked. Our skin stung with bites, mosquitoes swarmed thick, flies circled wounds that wouldn't close. The forest bled us slowly, without mercy. By dusk, we staggered, limbs weak, thoughts fading. Fire was needed. We gathered branches, rubbed stones, struck sparks, prayed. At last, a flame caught, grew, warmed us. Smoke curled, wood crackled. Shadows stretched long. For the first time since the fall, we felt safe. We ate roots, bitter and rough, but enough to fill. Night came again, dark thick, pressing absolute. The fire fought it, but barely. Beyond the glow, eyes glimmered. Not one, not two, dozens. Low to the ground, unmoving, watching. Our breath froze. Our whispers died. The night stretched heavier. Then came a sound. Low, deep, hungry. A growl. Answered by another and another. Wolves, we thought. But no, not wolves. The shape was wrong. The sound was wrong. The way the eyes moved, too fast, too silent. We pressed closer to the fire, hearts racing, blades shaking in our hands. Nothing more than sticks. The forest surrounded us, the hunger inside us matched by the hunger outside. Hours dragged. The eyes never left, the growls circling, closing, testing. And when dawn finally broke, when the first light touched the trees, the eyes vanished. No sound, no trace, as if they had never been. But we knew better. The forest had seen us. The forest had tasted us. The forest was waiting. Chapter 3, The Hidden Cave. The third day bled into the jungle, sun harsh, air heavy, hunger sharper than ever. Our bodies weak, our minds fraying, every sound twisting nerves tighter. We followed the stream still, hoping for fish, for fruit, for something alive we could eat, but the forest mocked us. Roots tripped us, branches clawed us, and the silence grew stranger, heavier. As if the deeper we walked, the less the forest wanted us there. By noon we found it, an opening half hidden behind vines, a wound in the earth black and waiting. A cave. Cool air drifted out, wet and stale, carrying something metallic, something old. We stood at its mouth, staring, fear rooting us in place. The jungle had hunted us, but the cave promised something worse. Yet the sun burned, the heat killed, and inside there was shade, there was shelter. Choice was an illusion. We went in. The light vanished quickly. Shadows swallowed us whole, our breath echoing. Loud, too loud. Drops fell from the ceiling, each sound a whisper, a word we could not understand. Our footsteps stirred mud, thick and sucking, pulling us down with each step. The walls narrowed, stone pressing close, forcing us into a line, one behind the other, crawling deeper. Our torches sputtered, flames trembling, shadows dancing wild. The cave felt alive, breathing with us, watching. Us. We found markings. Scratches on stone, not animal, not natural. Symbols carved deep, twisted, cruel. One of us touched them, and the rock crumbled, soft as ash, as if centuries had been waiting. For that moment, we pulled back, hearts hammering, eyes darting to the dark beyond. Then we smelled it. Not damp, not mold. Wort. Thick, heavy, suffocating. The tunnel opened into a chamber. Foshed, silent. Stalactites hung like teeth. Stalagmites rose like spears. In the center, bones. Piles of them. Broken, scattered, human and not human. Skulls grin hollow, spines curled like snakes. We froze. The torchlight flickering across empty sockets that seemed to stare back. The silence deepened, pressed into our skulls, until one bone shifted. Rolled. We spun, torches shaking. Hearts breaking. A whisper slithered through the chamber. Low, soft, crawling along the walls. Not one voice. Many, whispering together. Words twisted, not meant for us, yet meant for us. We backed away, but the bones shifted more, clattering, tumbling, as if stirred by something unseen, something moving beneath them. The torchlight caught movement at the edge of the chamber. Not bones, not rock, flesh, pale, thin, wrong. It slid back into the shadows before we could see more, leaving only the echo of wet steps. One of us screamed, the sound ripping through the silence, bouncing off the walls, waking the cave. And the cave answered. The whispers grew louder, sharper, closing in. The chamber breathed. The walls shook. Dust fell. Our torches dimmed. Something stirred in the dark, large, heavy, scraping stone, circling us like the eyes in the jungle, but closer, so much closer. We huddled together, torches lifted high, knowing light was the only thing keeping the dark at bay. And yet, in that moment, I understood we had traded one hunger for another. The forest wanted us gone. The cave wanted us kept. Forever. Chapter 4, Whispers in the Dark. The cave held us prisoner, walls closing in, air thick with rot and whispers that never stopped. We walked deeper because turning back felt worse, because behind us, the bones still shifted because the dark chased us either way. Torches sputtered, flames weak, smoke stinging our eyes, but the whispers grew clearer. Words twisted, old, broken, seeping straight into our skulls. They didn't come from our ears. They came from inside. We stumbled down a slope, mud slick, stone jagged, our hands scraping raw. The tunnel curved, deeper, darker, until even the air felt heavy with something alive, something crawling. Every breath tasted foul, metallic like blood. One of us muttered prayers, lips trembling, voice cracking, but the whispers answered him, mocking, repeating his words in 100 voices. He dropped his torch, fell to his knees, and we dragged him up, terrified the flame would die. Further in, the tunnel opened into another chamber, this one smaller, round, suffocating. Symbols covered the walls, carved deep, bleeding black sap that dripped slow, thick, sticky. We touched nothing, but the smell of it filled us with nausea. In the center, a pool. Still water, black as ink, reflecting nothing. The whispers swelled when we looked at it, as if the pool itself spoke. A ripple broke its surface, though no stone had fallen, and in that ripple, faces formed. Pale, twisted, screaming silently. We staggered back, but the walls felt alive, pulsing faint like a heartbeat. The torches dimmed again. The shadows stretched long, and in those shadows, shapes crawled. Not men, not animals. Things with limbs too long, heads bowed low, fingers sharp and twitching. Their eyes glowed faint, yellow, hungry. They did not charge. They did not leap. They only watched, waiting, patient. One of us snapped, screamed, hurled a rock into the pool. The water erupted, black liquid spraying, hissing where it touched the stone. The whispers turned to shrieks, piercing, endless. The ground shook, the walls cracked, and the shapes moved fast, circling, closing. We grabbed him, pulled him back, but his eyes were gone, rolled white, his body convulsing as if something had crawled inside. We ran. No plan, no path, only away. Torches flickered wildly, shadows chasing faster. Whispers now screams. The tunnels twisted, turned, each corner the same, each wall marked with symbols that bled. Our legs burned, lungs tore, but behind us came the sound of claws scraping stone, of wet limbs dragging, of something not made to walk but still moving fast. We turned into a narrow passage, barely wide enough to crawl. The torches scraped the ceiling, smoke choking us. But we pushed through, mud sucking us down, stone cutting our skin. Behind us, shrieks echoed, claws scratching closer, whispers filling the space until they weren't whispers anymore. They were words. We understood. Our names. I froze when I heard mine, soft, sweet, spoken in my mother's voice, though she was miles away, though she was safe at home. The others screamed theirs, heard lovers. Children, voices they couldn't ignore. The cave knew us. The cave wanted us. The cave promised we would never leave. And yet we crawled faster, hearts breaking, minds cracking, the passage dragging. Us deeper, not out. Ahead, the faint glow of another chamber, but this time I knew. Whatever waited there was worse than what chased us. Chapter 5, The Vanishing. The chamber opened wide, stone walls slick with moisture, the air heavy with mold and something sharper, something like iron. We stumbled in, gasping, torches shaking. Minds fraying. The whispers followed, softer now, crawling along the edges, never leaving, never silent. In the center of the chamber lay a circle of stones, blackened, burned, as if once fire had. lived there, but now only ash remained. We gathered, trembling, watching the shadows stretch. One of us whispered, "We are not the first." The thought sank heavy. Bones lay scattered in corners. Broken, gnawed, too old, too many. This place had been fed before, and it would be fed again. The air shifted, colder, sharper. One torch hissed and died, smoke curling, light vanishing from one side of the chamber. We screamed, lifted the others higher, but shadows pressed in tighter. A shape darted past, too fast, too low, eyes flashing yellow for only a second. Then gone. Panic cracked. One of us broke, running to the tunnel on the far side, torch high, voice crying for escape. We reached for him, but he slipped away. His light flickered, vanished into the dark. His scream followed. Sharp, short, and then silence. Nothing returned. Not him. Not even the echo. We huddled close, fear choking. The whispers laughed now. 100 voices blending, mocking, singing in broken tongues. Our names again. Our memories. One of us heard his child, another his wife, another his father's voice long dead. We pressed hands over our ears, but the sounds came from within, deeper than thought. Then another torch sputtered, weak shadows swelling. We turned, and one of us was gone. No sound, no scream, no struggle. Just gone, as if the dark had swallowed him whole, erased him. We called his name over and over, but only the cave answered, whispering it back with a cruel tone, stretching it long, breaking it apart. The ground shifted beneath us, mud sucking, stone trembling. The chamber was alive, breathing, moving. We backed away, closer to the burned circle, the ash swirling as if stirred by unseen hands. Our last 2 torches dimmed, flickering hard, and in their dying light we saw them. Shapes crawling along the walls, pale bodies, long limbs, twisted faces, eyes glowing faint. Dozens, maybe more. One of us snapped, dropped his pack, screamed into the dark, swung his torch like a weapon. He charged, fire flaring bright for only a moment before it died. His scream cut short, his body gone. Nothing left but silence and the echo of. Claws on stone. 3 of us remained, breathing ragged, torches weak, minds cracking. The cave wanted us. The cave had already taken half, and it was not finished. We clung to each other, whispering prayers, begging for dawn, but dawn did not exist here. No escape, no time, only the cave, only hunger, only whispers, and one by one I knew it would take us. Chapter 6, The Last Descent. 3 of us remained, pressed against the cold stone, torches trembling, shadows breathing closer. The cave whispered louder, names bending into screams, voices twisting into sobs, the sound of loved ones, the sound of nightmares. We wanted to run, but where? The tunnels twisted, the walls moved, every path led deeper, never out. One torch sputtered, coughing smoke. Another hissed. Soon only mine would burn, and I knew what that meant. The cave took light first. Then it took flesh. Then it took soul. My hand shook, my breath short. But I stepped forward because standing still meant waiting to vanish. The tunnel sloped downward, narrow, wet, the mud clutching my boots. Behind me came the others, whispering prayers, sobbing. Low voices cracking. Ahead, the dark pulsed, alive, thick with something that wanted us closer. We obeyed, not by choice, but by pull, by hunger not our own. The slope ended in a vast chamber, larger than all before. The ceiling lost in shadows, the walls carved with symbols that bled black. And in the center an altar, stone, jagged, stained dark. Around it bones stacked like towers, skulls grinning, ribs broken, spines twisted. The stench of centuries pressed down. The whispers stopped. Silence fell, heavier than sound, heavier than death. Then came movement. From the altar, from the bones, from the shadows. Figures rose, pale and twisted, limbs long, faces hollow, mouths filled with teeth too many, eyes glowing sickly yellow. Not one, not 2, dozens. We froze, hearts hammering, breath gone. One of us dropped his torch, fell to his knees, begged in broken words. The creatures moved closer, crawling, sliding, limbs scraping stone, claws dripping black. They circled us, cutting off every escape. The last of us screamed, swung his pack like a weapon, but they were too many. They swarmed him, pulling him into the dark. His screams tore the chamber, echoed, bled, then stopped. Only silence, only bone cracking, only chewing. I stood alone, my torch the last flicker of life. The creatures circled tighter, their whispers in my skull now. Not my ears. They promised gold. They promised power. They promised release. All lies, but lies sweet enough to weaken me. I stumbled back, torch shaking, breath tearing my chest. My hand brushed stone and found a crack, narrow, hidden. I forced myself through, scraping skin, bleeding, mud filling my mouth. Behind me, claws scraped closer, whispers louder, voices calling my name in the tones. Of my family, my friends, my dead. I crawled until the torch died. Darkness swallowed me whole. I should have given up. I should have let them take me. But somehow I crawled still. Hands torn, knees raw, mind broken, until at last, light, faint, distant, real, daylight. I burst out of the cave mouth, fell into mud, gasped air so sharp it cut. The sun burned my eyes, but I laughed, I cried, I screamed. I was alive, alone. The jungle stretched before me, endless, terrible, alive. Behind me, the cave waited, black mouth open, silent, patient. The whispers were gone, but not gone. They were in me now, crawling deep, waiting for night. I stumbled away, leaving blood and sanity behind. I had survived, but not escaped, never escaped, because the cave does not let go. The cave waits, always.